Well, this test match goes on, and while it does go on in England's favour, the last hour of that middle session on day three was blockbuster Rishabh Pant yet again, and of course the colossal force that Cheteshwar Pujara is in Test cricket, even more so at home. India is still 424 behind, and we couldn't have more contrasting styles on display. We saw it in Australia, Pujara and Pants together, and they've stitched together a partnership of 81 of 87. They've both gone past half centuries. It should make for a very curious tea time chat on ESPN Cricket for Match Day, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G. I've got Gautam Gambhir with me. Gautam, just take me through your first thoughts of what you've seen in the last hour of play, Pujara and Pant batting together.
See, the best thing about the partnership was that both of them played the natural game. No one trying to compliment the other person. Pujara played the way he always played. Rishabh Pant actually still backing himself against the left-arm spinner, which is good. And the good thing is that he's only looking to take on the left-arm spinner, not the off spinner, which is smart from him because he backs himself to play those shots. And sometimes it's good because you don't want to keep defending, like how Ben Stokes said probably yesterday, that it was better to actually go aggressive rather than being more defensive and get out a short leg or a backward short leg. So Rishabh Pant actually done a fabulous job by actually having a little bit of a recovery, but they're still far behind in this test match. But good thing is that he kept playing his shots and taking on the left-arm spinner, not the off spinner.
Yeah, so this approach from Pant, if I can get you to just analyze it and explain it, it's not just Pant trying to hit every ball. You find this approach well thought out, methodical, calculated, or is it still risky or even borderline reckless?
See, but the best thing is that he's backing himself to take on the left-arm spinner. And someone, obviously, if he backs himself and he's confident enough to actually clear the ropes, there's nothing wrong in it. Rather than just keep defending from that rough and one ball's just going to pop up and obviously go to short leg, it's better to back yourself and get as many runs as possible, irrespective of what format you're playing. It's about scoring runs. It's not about keep defending. Pujara, on the other hand, play the way he always does. Looks very, very compact, obviously plays time as well. So a good thing about this partnership is that there is someone like Rishabh Pant who will not let Leach settle and in any rhythm. And that is something very important. And it's important for Pujara as well, because the moment Leach settles into any kind of a rhythm, he can be a bit of a threat, especially with a ball that's going away. But then Rishabh Pant, till the time he's there, obviously he's put Leach on a completely back foot. So it's very good thinking from Rishabh Pant.
Even so, if I am to put the contrarian view, you're 400 plus behind, and there is a man at the deep. So if he is backing himself, yes, but is there a case to say that shot, given the match situation, or that shot attempted as many times given the match situation, may not be on? Or are you perfectly okay with
this? You can debate as much as you want about it, because there's deep mid wicket, long on, deep square leg, you can keep rotating. But then someone who you live by the sword, you die by it. As simple as it gets. When it comes off, people will keep raving about it. People are like, right now would be debating about it, that what a player and all that kind of stuff. If it doesn't come off, there'll be a lot of criticism as well. But then till the time you're absolutely happy with your own self, if Rishabh is happy with his own self, not the team management, not the skipper, no one else. If you are satisfied with what you're looking at, the kind of approach you're taking on, and if you keep backing yourself, fair enough, because ultimately you yourself have to answer yourself rather than answering anyone else as well. But yes, if it's coming off, it's really good, because at least he's not trying to be someone else. He's trying to be himself, which is very, very important.
Yeah, he is taking on the left arm spin. You think that risk has therefore been assessed and calculated by Rishabh Pant? Not as much risk attempted against Dom Bess, who takes the ball away. Now let's focus on Cheteshwar Pujara, just this colossal force that he is at home. Gautam, he comes at the back of what was a very challenging series in Australia. He faced a lot of balls, didn't get as many runs that he would have liked. But he's back home now, and he's just showing why he's just so valuable in this format.
More valuable than anyone else in this batting lineup.
Yeah.
The most unfortunate thing is that he doesn't get the limelight, and he always goes under the radar. He's probably the most important player in this batting lineup. He looks settled in every condition. You got to bowl your best delivery to get Cheteshwar Pujara out. I've hardly seen in the last couple of years that he's actually played a bad shot, or he's actually being he's trying to drive on the up, or probably lofting the ball over mid-on. You got to keep bowling really well against him, and he plays in that zone. He stays in that zone, and that's why when we mentioned about, there are plays for people like Dom Sibley, Cheteshwar Pujara, and there will always be plays for people like these kind of players in Test cricket. And hats off to him. He stays in that zone. He pats time. It's not only about batting time. He gets runs as well. Once he settles down, he looks to take on the left-arm spinner. He plays spin really well. He's very compact. So very good. I think I think it's time that the spotlight should shift from other players to Cheteshwar Pujara, that because he's probably the most important player in this batting lineup.
Yeah, that adjustment that you spoke of when you've had a long series overseas, and you mentioned your own experience of having to then adjust back to your home conditions. Yes, you played a lot of cricket at home, but Pujara seems to have just made that transition so smoothly. He may not necessarily have all the shots, but he's been aggressive when he needed to. He's hit boundaries of the spinners. He seems to have made that adjustment from Brisbane to Chepauk seamlessly.
I said the same thing during the lunch break, that one
Yeah.
player where I feel who would not have any problem adjusting to any kind of condition will be Cheteshwar Pujara, because he just bats in his own comfort zone. He bats with the same tempo. He Conditions do not matter. He's got his own game plan, irrespective of how the conditions are. This is what he's going to do. That is what he's going to play. These kind of shots he's going to, because if you see, Cheteshwar Pujara plays the same kind of shots what he does in Australia, and he does the same in India as well. So his game plan is very simple. He doesn't change a lot of his game plan. Yeah, there will be difference of bounds. There'll be more grip. Wickets might be slow, but if you see the wagon wheel, what he did in Gabba to what he's doing now, whether it was Lethal Lion at Gabba or whether it is Dom Best now, he's doing exactly the same thing. So, which is why I think he has a lot of trust on his method, on his game plan, and which is again a big strength. A lot of people do not have trust on their game plans. That's why they keep changing from their game plans. That's why they have different game plans for different conditions. But Cheteshwar Pujara not, and that's his biggest strength. If you decide on something, you got to stick to it, because you got to trust that, and that is the reason why you will be successful in every condition. When people talk about, do you have different techniques for different format? No, you have the same technique. It's only once you have a good foundation, you can be a successful player in all the three formats. Cheteshwar Pujara is exactly the same in Test cricket. He has a very strong foundation, very strong game plan, and he doesn't go out of that game plan, whether it's Gabba, whether it's Lords, or whether it is Chepauk.
Yeah, just outstanding from Pujara. We've come to expect it from him, but to deliver it on such a regular basis just goes to show why, right, Gautam Gambhir rightly points out, this could very well be the most important, most valuable player in this Indian Test lineup. Let's talk about the two wickets that fell. Let's start with Virat Kohli. And uncharacteristically, Kohli just not allowed to break the shackles. 11 of 48. England were very tight against Kohli right after lunch, Gautam. And just with the wicket that it did fall. Dom Best, the questions that we're asking, take me through the wicket and what happened there.
Good ball, just a very good ball. Probably the line as well. Line was very good, because if you keep bowling outside the off stump, whatever gets straightened might just go to slip, because you have to play that ball. You never know how much is it going to spin, whether it's going to spin, whether it's not going to spin. And the moment Virat tried to defend that, if it would have kicked a little bit, obviously that's where it went to short leg. So you're playing with both the edges of the bat. There's a chance of taking the ball to slip. There's a chance again how Virat Kohli got out. So it was probably a line which actually tempted Virat to play that ball. Had that ball been on middle leg or probably off stump, then Virat could have easily played with his hands and probably would have rotated towards mid-wicket. But once the line is outside the off stump, you do get tempted and you don't want to drive that ball, because there will be a gap between bat and bat. So he defended that ball. I thought it was the line that did him rather than anything else.
And the Ajinkya Rahane wicket, Dom Best in the middle of a great spell where it seems like that primary line of attack is just outside of stump. A little different perhaps from R. Ashwin, who chooses different lines to attack, has more variations. But if you just compare how much Dom Best has got out of it, is it just to do with the surface helping him more? Or is it that Dom Best's line of attack has been a little stronger?
I think the line of attack is very important, especially against the right-hander. And I've always felt that once the off spinner or a left-hand spinner against a left-hander starts pulling a little outside the off stump, then you're trying to beat both the edges. Once you come and try and bowl into the stumps, then all you can do is probably try and get an LBW or a short leg, and then a left-hander or a right-hander can actually keep rotating or probably use their feet. Once it's outside the off stump, you know that there's a rough outside the off stump. You never know whether it's going to spin, it's going to bounce, it's going to keep straight. So actually, the line is very, very important, and that's one reason why I think Leach needs to change against Rishabh Pant. He has to go a little more outside the off stump and try and use that rough, because Rishabh anyways does not matter to him about the rough. So he's going to take him on from outside the off stump. Probably the reason why he got smashed was because he bowled a lot straighter into the stump where there was hardly any rough. And Dom Best from that point of view bowled a very good line. And I think if he keeps bowling that line, he's got to get a lot of wickets going forward as well, because outside the off stump against a right-hander, there's always an opportunity.
The Rahane wicket itself, though, is it just down to a great catch by Joe Root, or would you just expect more? India have lost 4 wickets. You could probably look at 2 or 3 of them being soft ones.
Especially this one, Rahane. What a full toss but an unbelievable catch. I don't think so Joe Root can do anything wrong in this test match.
Yeah.
But then again, probably a little shaky as well, Rahane, when you're not in that rhythm. And obviously, you would want to hit that ball along the ground, and you don't expect, obviously, to hit it in the air. There was a very simple coaching method. Whenever you try and hit the ball in the air, there will always be an opportunity for a fielder to take that catch, but an unbelievable catch. But again, I think the line was important. I can't give it to Dom Bess. We have to give this dismissal to Joe Root purely from the kind of catch he took. But then again, the line was very important. Had that been probably towards the time, he would have not hit it through cover. He would have probably hit it between mid wicket and mid on. So I thought the line, again, whether it was Virat Kohli or Ajinkya Rahane, line was very, very good.
All right. Now, I'm sure at this point, if England have had their quick cup of tea, there is a conversation on Rishabh Pant that is going on. Is it just, let's just stick to more of it? He surely is going to skew one up and mistime it. They're more than 400 behind. Or is there something else that you'd like to see done differently? Would Leach continue with that different line that you mentioned, Gautam? Would you bring in Jofra Archer straight after tea?
Probably I'll start with Leach and Jofra Archer. And I'm going to ask Leach to bowl wide outside the off stump and use that rough, rather than coming in the middle or probably trying and bowl close to the off stump. Because I know that obviously you've got a lot of runs. You still have a lot of opportunity. It's not like you've got another 100 or 150 odd runs. You're 425 behind in Leach. There could be an opportunity there. Plus, from one end, Jofra Archer, probably try and bowl him 3 overs and see what happens against Rishabh Pant. And from one end, Leach, if nothing happens, then probably try and bring Dom Bess back. But I would definitely give Leach another go, because he needs to come back in that rhythm. And there will always be an opportunity when you're playing this kind of an innings, unless and until it's your day and you hit everything out of the park. That can happen, but at the same time, there will always be an opportunity. And try and play with Rishabh's patience. It's about probably bowling a line little, I'll see the off stump more. That is going to be my plan of action, especially coming after the tee to Rishabh Pant.
All right. Let's see how long this goes on then. If it goes on another session, it should make for a fascinating show at the end of the day, where Gautam Gambhir and Ian Bell will both join us. Big thank you to Gautam. We'll get his thoughts along with Ian Bell's at our Stumps show. So do join us then and send in your questions and thoughts for our panel with the hashtag AskMatchday. We'll take as many as we can at the end of play. India is still 424 behind. There's some pretty good sport on display, contrasting styles of Cheteshwar Pujara and Rishabh Pant at the Chepauk, and we'll see where this test match stands at the end of day 3. Do join us then for ESPN Cricket for Matchday, powered by Realme X7 5G and X7 Pro 5G.